So it's stuff that I'm going to be... Don't! Cheeky bugger. Ready? And 3, 2, 1. Is this on? Hi, welcome back to MK Sportscars here, back in the factory. Just going to go through some individual builds with you today. Back on the Hayabusa Turbo. Small amount of updates that we're talking about. Start at the front end. We already showed you where we're going to be positioned intercooler, radiator. It's in for mock-up there. Pipework's been sent off to be fabricated. Some custom hoses being made for that. To link it into his Plenum and everything else here. But while we're here, we've got the Plenum. So in the Plenum here, to fit this under the bonnet, we had to basically modify it. So to take off a small amount here, weld in a new section of alley, so now that fits under the bonnet scoop and clears. Originally we was on about tilting it over like we do with our standard when we do our intakes over, but that's an additional cost that the customer didn't want to get involved with, plus it probably remapping because you've changed the intake length here and everything else by about 50 mil, so we'd have had to do that. So now done that, modified it, and then we can make the bracketry now to come down. We've got to support this Plenum because obviously under boost this will pop off if you just leave it on the rubbers. And so what we've got to do was we'll secure that, and we've got some retainers come in. They're like, we're going to make some left-hand and right-handed thread joiners here, a bit like a push rod really, and that'll come down and bolt into these bolt holes that we'll drill and tap in, or we'll come off of this section here. So that'll hold that in nice and tight and get that Plenum down and secured. Now, while we was in this area, we started fitting all the body panels. These were sort of dry fit, preliminary dry fitting. Exhaust hole's been cut. So we mocked this up, made a template behind, draw where we need it, cut this hole. So the exhaust system's under here, don't need to know that, but it comes out in a nice tight hole here. And then we're going to come up with, we're going to make a laser cut plate here. A bit like a Superman shape, I think we're going to come up with, that's been drawn up as a template, mesh it so some of the heat from this turbo that's going to be sitting down in there. So this bad boy, once you sit there, it generates a huge amount of temperature and gets extremely hot and sits basically like that in the vehicle, just there. And then this will get extremely hot, be very close to the panel, and obviously you're talking about melting fiberglass and everything else. So, but what we've had to do is reclock this section. So we've had to take this apart, reclock it, and weld on then another forged end here, and this allows us from this section here to get up and out to the intercooler. So it's going to sit basically about there, but in the vehicle under the exhaust manifold, and then we can get out and up. Otherwise before this was going straight into the block, so we've come out with a nice little 90 there, well chamfered 90 anyway, to get it on with the actuator here for the turbo. All fits nice and neat. It's a fairly big turbo, as you can see, and that should be gentle short, nice and free moving. So makes a really nice setup, and I know that someone's been impressed with this new turbo setup that he's had. So we're there, we'll mesh this, body panels have been fitted, scuttle's been dry fitted here as well, gone into that. And then we were on with back panel joining in here. We've done the other side, which I'll show you in a second. On with the interior panels. These have been modified, fitted, trimmed, ready to fix in. They've been dry fitted. We'll take them back out because we'll finish off the wiring and everything else in there, because we've got some bits of wiring to do in this section, finish off. And then the gear lever we've done, that's all nice and free moving. You can see that moving in the engine bay there as well. So makes normally nice, the fun stick as we call it, looks really cool. And it's a lovely light finger touch. You can literally change gear with one finger, which is how you want it. Now, wiring, when we talk about this, we're going to be fitting one of these. I'm going to move out of Finney's way. Apologies. I'm going to fit in one of these for the customer. So this is an 8 channel. Probably use 6 out of these. Could put more in if he needs them for etc. But for most of the things, which is your indicators, your high beam, your horn, and a few other components that you need if you want to do other things on there. You've got 8 channels to play with on this. This will get mounted. A really nice bit of kit actually. They make them very reliable. Obviously comes off with a steering wheel. You can do what you want. So that wiring is the next job. We'll move round into the back. Fire extinguisher's been fitted, plumbed in. So put all new pipe work in for that. I don't know about your service date, you'll have to look into that. We've made these bracketry to fit and mount that up. There's different to our normal ones. We've had to make this, modify and put in with some steel fixings as well. That's been modified. Back panel all dry fitted, and the 3-in-1 fog light module. So it's like a housing, fog light and number plate light all in one. That's all been fitted in position, and that's at correct level for IVAs and everything else as well. So, but they're really neat, really tidy. I mean, was that a thumbs up, guys? Is that one of them for them? Or think we can do better? Put it down in the comments. Happy to hear from you. And then on this side here, we've footed it up. We was just checking for clearance because he's got some big old tyres on here, 245s on the back. So we're checking for clearance on the standard arch. So if I take his wheels here, this is a front wheel, a 185. This is a front wheel, 185, which is big, yeah. But then you look at a rear tyre. They're monstrous, 245s. So as you can see, that's a big old bit of meat on the rear of this car, but then it is really running. It can run anything up to sort of 400 horsepower. You need a decent width and a decent bit of tyre. But what we was doing on the standard arch, making sure we got clearance here, and she's pretty good actually. Lines up nice. Once I put the camber on this, which is what it's going to need, this is all sits in nice. As you can see, it sits nice and asymmetric in here, correct distances and gaps. Now, what we do, in fact, we can show you on the other side on this one. These holes are already ready for you to either bolt nut or riv nut. We riv nut these, but these are already built into the panel. So for you guys at home building, the hole's already there. And on the rear arch, as it is, that has the holes in exactly the same place. You can offer it up, you can either nut and bolt it, you can either riv nut, which is what we generally do for motorsport, or very thin washer, so that if you rip the arch off. But these are already pre-done, so if you break one, you can just bolt it back. Not a problem. It's all again designed for your sort of motorsport but application. But if you're on the road and you have one that's unfortunately bent itself, which I'll show you over here, I'll pass by. Here we go. Here's a rear arch already packed up, and as you can see, the holes already in it, ready to line up with the bodywork. So there's none of that faffing around. You can do this on your own. None of that faffing around. Am I left and right okay? Am I up and down, etc. okay? It all lines up with those holes. Makes it really simple for you guys to home assembly the vehicle as well, which is what we're all about. Next thing is seat. We're on with this, which is our new low-sided, sort of cutaway, low-sided, it's a stiffer brake on it. So it's in the bag because it's protected, but very strong seat, very lightweight. But if you're running a hands device or something, we've raked this back 10 degrees more. So it helps with your hands device. These are going in now. And it's easier to do these now because we've already pre-drilled the holes when the side panels went in. So if you're fitting the guys at home, my advice is get the seat and the seat runners assembled as soon as possible. Drill the holes for them because you'll have access a lot easier through here because this panel won't be in the way. When it's in, it's just harder to work and get the drilling and everything else. So do the seats, mark the holes, then you can put back into storage and do what you want then. So next, couple of little jobs we'll be doing, which is fuel pressure regulator. This is next job actually for plumbing in the fuel lines. This just sits up here and it's going to have a return. It's got a little bracket made up here for it. It's going to sit up here somewhere for it. Modify that, fit it in for the fuel lines. And then we got things like new air filter. So this is a new air filter for it, which is going to be fitted on the front of the turbo, which will sit somewhere in there, but the other side of the bar. So that's going to fit in just about there for it to give it a nice cold air feed. Now, if you're thinking, oh, I like turbos, I want to do turbo boost on mine, this is a 3D printed version. It's not the same as this one. As you can see, this one's different. This is what Simon's had made himself. We do a cast version with RLM. This is a 3D printed mock-up one. We've got some actually 3D printed turbos. Hold that thought, I'm going to show you one. So we've got these. Richard RLM, got these all 3D printed and we're using them up for mock-up. So what we can do then is simulate this manifold, which will then bolt on to this, and then we can do what we want. We can visualize. This is a G25-550, this one. So we'd have the exhaust that side, for example, and the intake there. And then what we would do, they can clock this. So we've cut them before. So this would sit here, this pipe comes out that angle actually, and then we can put it on and then check it all for fitment and everything else. And we've done it on, same with this one, and all we did with this is 660, I do believe, this one. The same principle applied that we did this, and then it allows you to, this is for an external when we face it out this way. So we do that, and then we clock it to about there, and that fits outside the bodywork, this one. It's designed to fit in not so tight, which is what we've got in a cup for at the moment. So, but they're really good. The facilities nowadays are amazing, you know, to be able to do this and not have to go and then buy a very expensive turbo and it don't fit. You can actually get something 3D printed now, use it as your mock-up tool, make sure it's right, very minimal cost. But it's there again if you want to check any other applications to do it all. So top tip there, guys, if you want to do it, there are facilities out there, there's drawings available, everything online to get these to use as your mock-up tools. And it's, I mean, it's just unbelievable really, isn't it, what technology does today. Same as this, 3D printed. This is not a real one. Wouldn't last very long, a plastic one, would it? What do you reckon, a turbo manifold? So yeah, once this is bolted on, it all fits nice and neat and under there. Now, not only this one, they've got 2 more turbo conversions that we're going to be doing now. Actually, there's 1, 2 over there that we're going to be doing a full turbo build on. So we'll keep an eye on those on socials for those updates. It's going to take a few months. It's not going to be weeks. It is going to be months because we've got the engines at RLM already being built. So, but this one, yeah, cracking on. Got a few other bits to do. We've got filters, dashboards in next as well. So this is our aluminium dashboard, already pre-laser cut for the AIM dashboard, or the switch gear. Fire extinguisher, pull cord is here, battery kill switch, steering column, brake bias bar. It's a laser cut component part that sits on the vehicle, nice and neat, especially for a race application. We like to keep it nice and simple. So that's going in next, and the steering column as well. But final thing will be nose cone and bonnet, which is going to have this, going to have the cup nose cone. I'm only showing you this because you may have not seen what we do before, that the cup nose cone is much nicer front face, more cooling for oil, or if you've got intercoolers, separate cooling up here for cold air intakes if you've got like a normally aspirated Mazda based car that we do a cold air intake box for as well. So this will be going on, and then the bonnet with a scoop as well. So those will be the next sort of trimming up jobs, final fitment, before we start fitting in things like this, which is the electric water pump. Just waiting for the pipework to join this actually. We get our own pipework made, it's branded in MK, but we didn't have these in the shop because it's a custom 19 to 25mm 90. It's not something we have on the shelf, so it's being made at this moment in time. So yeah, so that's it really so far with this particular build. If you've got any questions on the vehicle or what we're doing, then find them down in the comments. Happy to get feedback and see what's going on. But this is going to be a nice little monster. Follow the series of this car, and hopefully once it's on the road, so I'm going to be doing a little report about his sprint hill climbs for the 2026 season. That's it. Remember to like, share and subscribe, guys, and guess what, yeah, we'll catch you next time.